So I'm in my studio, which is somehow my garage. You can see things around, and a lot of things are in progression. And I want to make a point and starting this series, which I think I will call it Road to Iceland, to a bit introduce what I'm working about on and how the next months will be shaped. The good news that I already shared with some people and on medias is that I got part of a grant that I applied for, and this will allow me to go to in the second part of this of the production of this trip. So basically, when I start working on big projects, there are always parts, they come off one after another, and while you're doing one, you're preparing the next one. So in the last months, what I've been doing was to prepare grants and applications for getting some money. Because doing some of the projects, you need to make sure that at least you're not losing money. I'm not a big fan of asking for friends and families for money, and I think that projects should and have to live their own life. I could use my private money as the money that I got from my work as a photographer to be involved in the project, but this is not how it works. And for me, it's more important than when there is someone else who believes that this project has a value, as a cultural value, as a artistic value, and that is also a big motivational change for me, meaning that is you are not the only one believing that this is a project, that for some people, my mom was one of them, they don't start not thinking that it's just a very exotic holiday you're taking, but it's a real project. And so this first letter arrived, and this was the beginning of January. I was just back from my Chinese trip, and this moved everything very fast in my mind to start organizing things. So while I'm still looking for other money and doing applications, I have to start planning the trip. So what the project is about? In a very brutally easy, short way, I will walk around Iceland for the next summer. So I will start in June, July, and August, and I will walk all around. Even though the walk is shorter on paper, because if I look around, the main road of Iceland is 1,200 kilometers. The reality is that I calculated there will be around 3,000 kilometers. And there will be 3 months. So it's 1,000 kilometers per month, which is doable. And again, those are just numbers, are ideas behind the project, but the project is not making numbers. I don't care if I will do 2,000 kilometers, I will do 6,000 kilometers, doesn't matter. It's an indication of where you want to go, and honestly, it's also a way to prepare yourself. As I already explained in other videos, one of the things that make you really motivated about how to go around is to understand how much your body can handle what you're planning. And after Norway, I know that my body can handle 1,000 kilometers on foot, and these foot trips are essentially possible. And when I came back from Norway, I also thought that I could do more. The 1,000 was not a limit in the sense of, oh my God, I'm completely done, my body's crashing, my feet are hurting. I was fine. I was actually fine. So, and this is how I started thinking about this new project, even though Iceland was already on my list before Norway. And this is why I started planning and organizing these things. Why I'm choosing Iceland has a lot of different reasons. First of all, I like circles. I like to go back to where I arrived And there are a lot of reasons for that. One is, sorry, I'm a bit tired tonight. And one of the reasons is because I can easily go back for where I arrived. And philosophically, there are a lot of implications about what a circle is about. One thing you might consider is that when you go back after a long trip, you go back to the beginning of it, but you are not the same person anymore. And that has a lot of implications in how you mentally, philosophically explain to yourself what happened to you during the trip. When I move from A to B, B has nothing to do with A, and in that sense doesn't make any comparison in your brain and your body and how you explicitly consider that a closed task. A circle is also a closed loop, which it is really easy to handle in also in logistic, because you go back to the same place. So I can leave some stuff there, I can prepare my comeback, and when I'm there I can just take my stuff, repack everything, and just going home. And there are other reasons for like going in Iceland. First of all is the landscape is so diverse as I imagine. I've seen pictures and videos, and we all have this fascinating idea of the volcanoes. I come from a volcano city, so it is also, the parallel is very exciting for me. And the other thing is because I don't like to work in hot environments. It's not very nice. It's unbelievably a waste of energies, because with the heat you waste energy. And so for a long walk and for a nomadic trip, I really like the idea that most of it will be done in isolation and in cold. I always say that I like nature when it's raw and unforgiving, but that is not the only reason. Iceland is an island, and that usually the environmental economy of an island is a very diverse uh, system. Is concentrated in the sense that even though it's a large island, you still have the feeling that you are on an island, is you are protected or exposed to water all around. And also the people, I guess, have a different approach. All the islands I visited in my life, they all have a very different way of considering themselves. First of all, because you cannot escape. Imagine the history of people. Whenever like people had problems or they can't stay in one place, they just migrate. But migrate from an island or in an island is a very different story. So you have a limited access, and this is also like how to shape societies. I know for sure there are not so many big cities apart from the capital city. And so this project is start building up with what I really want to do, but also like there is a lot of logistic to it. I need to prepare a lot of things. Here scattered around, there are already a lot of objects and devices and things that I'm preparing. The one you see here is my trolley, is already a new version of it. I'm still have to finish it, but in parallel, I'm building another version of my trolley, which is in carbon fiber. I might not bring this one with me in Iceland, but I want to try if it makes a difference, if I can make it as sturdy as the other one, which is in metal. And anyway, this one that I used in the past has radically been changed on the mistakes that I did in Norway. So it's already long months that I'm working on this one. I would say it's almost 1 year that I'm working on the new trolley. There are so many different aspects of the trolley has changed. Might go off-road, which is a very good improvement. Might not fall, might not collapse or flip anymore. So, but I have to test it radically before the trip. So, is one thing is to make sure that the trolley and everything with it will work. And the other is about start organizing connections on the island. I already started, and there are some people helping me, which I'm very grateful. And also, like, there are maps that I have to study, maps of campsites, maps of supermarket, maps of everything that I need. Also, I will look for water. Another aspect that I'm considering before the trip is what I want to do with the trip. And this is a question that was already bothering me when I start writing the applications, because as you can imagine, when you write applications for projects, you need to say what you want to do with it, because it's not just about traveling. A lot of people travel. I have a lot of people that I see also on YouTube. They're making like much bigger and longer trips. But the point for me is what you want to do with your time there, and what you want to do when you come back. So there are other two phases of this project that are already ongoing, and one is about collecting materials, and one is about what you do with that. When I went to Norway, I had no idea that I was going to do a movie out of it, but that happened. And for me, it was also like the first time I was doing a movie in general. I don't do that. I'm a photographer, and I was not imagining that would be the outcome of the trip. But as I say, this has happened during the trip. If I knew in advance, for sure I was going to collect more materials, I was going to film more, I was doing more angles maybe, but also like to already think about a narrative from the beginning. I built the movie when I came back in Berlin, and I was watching the footage, and I said, okay, this might work in that sense. But doing another trip now, thinking on imagining to do the same thing, will not work. First of all, because this will be a repetition, and I'm not very amused to repeat myself in the same content. And also because I think that there is much to it that I can really organize beforehand. So this is what is happening now. I'm already preparing the phase that will bring an exhibition into 2027. I already have ideas of what I want to do, but this is all preliminary ideas, so I don't have something that I can present now, but I know that I want to collect as much material as possible because I want to do an exhibition, and this material will be part of the content of the exhibition. So I can't show you anything but I can tell you, like, apart from pictures and videos and the drone, I have a new small drone with me. I'm trying to 3D scan things because I might reproduce them and replicate them. And one of the reasons is that I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to bring anything with me. If I see shells, if I see stones, if I see rocks, and if I see wood around me, I really would like to bring them back, but not in the sense of bringing the object. This trip, in some extent, is already the sum of all my last years of walking, because these ideas has been forming in my mind while I was in Australia, when I was in China, when I was in Norway, when I was on the Shetland. So I did a lot of exercises when I was there, but they were not meant and considered to be one exercise, was not meant to be one collective effort to bring something back. One other thing that I'm doing, I have a watch now, and it's not the only sensor that I will bring with me. This already gives me a lot of information, give me my heart rate, give me my sleeping rate, give me a lot of information about temperature, for example, my skin temperature, although it's not officially medically considered like a sensor for medical use. There is a lot of information there, and the raw data on this one, it's pretty good. So there is a lot of study also in this sense to understand what kind of data I want to collect. And I'm building other sensors that then be part of the trolley, most likely will be on the trolley on their own, and they have to charge the batteries maybe every month. And they are based on ESP32 boards, which are really tiny boards that they don't need a lot of energy, and they can go to sleep in the meantime. So basically they are not on all the time. They have some wake up function. So if I want to collect the temperature of the environment where I'm working, I don't need the temperature every minute. I will need the temperature maybe every 10 minutes or maybe 1 hour. Or I have other sensors that I want to bring with me to measure the environment, to measure the amount of light, for example, and other things that I have that pop into my mind while I'm working on this project. And obviously, I don't have a full spectrum of how I will use these data, but for sure, I'm already testing which kind of data I can collect, which numbers are coming out, and maybe when I come back, I will bring them all together. I already built some machines or prototypes of machines that will help me to visualize this data, because it's also a thing. I don't think I will show you something on a screen and tell you, oh, this is the elevation I went from this day to another day. I want to create an interactive system that people can enjoy in most likely in an exhibition, where they can play with it. I was having a conversation with a nice friend, Lucia. Again, she's always in my radar when it's about preparing these trips, and I told her that I can't produce or bring you in a romantic path through what is in my mind. Even though people might consider, for example, the movie that I did very romantic, I can't force it. I can't push you to that thing. So what I will do is to bring ideas, try to put them together, and see what happens. And as you can see, there are a lot of go and back and forward and in my brain in this moment, because it's a very complicated trip to organize. There is a lot of logistic, because all these choices bring me to which devices, how much they weigh, how can I charge them, how can refill things, how can I bring things with me. And because it's a long trip, I would say that till 1 month you can stretch things. But when you go after 1 month, some stuff cannot work. I made you a very stupid example, the sleeping bag. You can sleep in a sleeping bag for 1 month in a row. It's not ideal. You can shake it from time to time. You can leave it in fresh air sometimes when the weather is good, but you can't force it more than 1 month to stay in the same sleeping bag. You should wash it. And the problem of washing it is the moment you wash it, it's like it will dry in 3 days, because you're not going to wash in a dryer. So one thing that I consider, and I already bought, is to buy a very tiny cotton sleeping bag that I can put inside the other sleeping bag. So I will sleep in this cotton one, and on top there will be my heavy one. So this very tiny one, I can take it out and wash it when I think there is time, and then it will dry in half an hour, in 1 hour maybe, because it's very, very thin. And as you can imagine, this is just one of a lot of considerations that they come with this trip, because of this on this topic there are so many of different ones. Another one is food. Last time I brought almost all my food with me in Norway. Not all of it, but the things that I can bring and the dry things that I could bring with me, they were ready with me at the beginning. I was shopping in supermarkets regularly for fresh food, for salmon, broccoli, other things that were nice, ice cream sometimes. But you cannot rely on bringing everything with you from the beginning, because 3 months, and you cannot certainly not rely on arriving to a random supermarket in the middle of nothing, which usually are tiny, and hoping that they have what you need. I have a very specific needs when it comes to walking, and my list is very, I wouldn't say straight. There are a lot of options and extra options. I like to cook, even when I travel, but I have to admit there is a moderate amount of items that have to come with me. Rice will come. I found a way, for example, how to cook rice now is in a food thermos. I never did before. It's very nice. I already tried, and I will bring everything that I need in that trip. But I cannot bring you for 30 days. I mean, I can bring for 30 days. I cannot do it for 3 months. So I have to plan the logistic to send me myself a package from here, most likely, schedule every 30 days. And I will ask some friends to help me. But even there, you need to organize that beforehand, knowing everything you need to know. I can send myself a package in Iceland in a post office, and they can keep it for 2 weeks. I already checked. But I have to talk with them anyway. I have to send them an email. I have to organize things. So it looks simple, but there is a lot of very mental effort to get there. And I'm just at the beginning. There are 4 months I'm missing, and yeah, for now I think that's it. The good news is that this trip is happening, that I'm getting ready to it, that I'm already working on different aspects of it. I will consult a lot of people, and everyone who knows me, this will be the topic of my life until I'm leaving. Most of the conversations that I will have with people will be around about this. I'm sorry for that, but these kind of trips are in some extent a full world. They really attract all my needs and all my energies. And I think it's just normal that it is like this. Otherwise, you will get unprepared on a very complicated trip and unknown territory. And it's not just unknown because I don't know much about it, but because it's really like a lot to be studied. I have to study geography of the places. I have to study everything that might help me, even where water sources are. So, to get ready, prepared, understanding a bit of the morphology of territory, of like flora and fauna, and everything that might help me during the trip. And yes, in these weeks I will finish the trolley. For sure I will do another video in some weeks, or maybe even before, if I have some nice topic to talk about. And I will keep you posted.